Who are you here to be? That's what's on my mind today. So let's think about that a little bit. Who are you? Just be you. That was the question that really knocked me for a loop about 10, 11 years ago. So let's talk about that a little bit. I am Tammy Coyne, your holistic alchemist, helping you change pain into possibilities and possibilities into purpose. I upload content on this channel about the holistic healing and personal development. I upload content on Tuesdays and Thursdays usually. And on Saturdays, I do the Holistic Pathway podcast, which is unscripted conversations on mind, body, spirit, and entrepreneurship. So this question, several years ago, someone said to me, Tammy, just be you. And it scared me because I didn't know what that meant. I had gotten so completely disconnected from my soul, from my identity, my authentic self, that I had no idea how to even just be me. I didn't know. And then how to even be a better version of me. So that's kind of what's on my mind today, this idea around leadership, this idea around your identity of who you are and who you came here to be. There are several components to it around self-mastery. There, you've got the healing component, you've got the development, and you've got the mastery. So there are a lot of steps that it takes to get into this mastery phase of being, because there's a lot of work to get here. And you don't get here by standing on the ground and then trying to jump up to the top rung of the ladder. It just doesn't happen. There's a lot of uncomfortable pieces as you grow. Do you have what it takes? Part of what it takes is getting out of your head. Part of what it takes is looking at those thought forms that aren't in service of you any longer. Those thought forms that say things to you like you're not good enough, like you're just not quite enough, that, oh, that's a pipe dream. You'll never be able to accomplish that. Or who do you think you are for thinking you can do this, this, or this? The people that I tend to work with are people who know that they are different. They know that they are not like the other people they've encountered. They know they're here for something more. They know they're here for something bigger. But somehow they get knocked down again, either by their own thoughts or by the people around them who can't see the vision. Maybe you're someone who's made a lot of mistakes in your life, and maybe you've dealt a lot with the shadow parts of your life. Maybe there was addiction. Maybe there was jail time. Maybe there was so much trauma that you just couldn't see your way out of it. Maybe there was a time where you believed you were here for something more, and then the world, your life experiences, whatever, caused you to believe you were just making it up and it wasn't possible. So keep in mind what I said at the beginning, changing pain into possibilities and possibilities into purpose. So people come to me at all different parts of their journey. And sometimes they are so covered up in pain, they can't even see possibilities. They have stopped dreaming. They've stopped, I don't mean dreaming as in dreaming while you're asleep, although that comes up too. I'm talking about the bigger dreams, the something deep in your soul that feels like, I know I'm here to do something else. I know I'm here to be something else, someone else. Now, there's also a lot of growth that happens when you step into these new titles, these new versions of yourself. Think about it. When you're someone in the very beginning, you're a child, you haven't gone to school yet, there's an identity shift of becoming a school kid, right? And then you become a kindergartner. Then you become a first grader. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always these identity shifts as you up level. Then how about that thing where you go from being a single person to being somebody's wife or somebody's husband? That's kind of weird at first until you sort of grow into it, or being somebody's mom or being somebody's dad. Like those are big shifts, right? And so who you were essentially dies so that you're reborn, go through a rebirth into this new person, because you will never be that again. It just sort of absorbs into you. So when you're here for these bigger purposes, these bigger missions, these bigger journeys, whether you've gone through spiritual awakening or you're just at that point of thinking, there's got to be more to my life, there's some definite shifts. I remember, this is a story I like to tell, that when I first started meditation, that's a story for another time, but I eventually became a teacher in the same place I had learned meditation. And I remember the first class that I had where I was supposed to teach. And I got there and I sat down and I got the space ready and people came in, and I'm feeling very nervous and wondering when the teacher is going to start the class. And then thinking, oh shit, I'm the teacher now. These people are looking at me to be the teacher. Now I knew how and I knew what to do, but I didn't yet see myself as the teacher. Seeing myself as a meditation teacher, I used to be a federal analyst. How in the hell did I become a meditation teacher? When did that happen? Or I was at an event and I was sitting on the floor. I'm a master toe reader, sitting on the floor looking at toes, looking at feet of strangers and wondering, how did I get here? Like I was just a federal supervisor sitting in a cubicle, and now I'm sitting in the floor at an event looking at strangers' feet. Like, how did this happen? Who am I? The first time I said to someone that I was a coach, like, what? It's very weird and it's very different to step into these new roles. Maybe you've been whatever you've been your whole life, and then maybe you retire and then it's like, oh, new chapter, but your identity is still stuck in the old life. Or maybe you've recognized this that I've been doing just doesn't work for me anymore. Now, who am I? Who am I without that? Who am I here to be? Like there's some definite shifts that need to happen. Becoming an entrepreneur, when I did not come from entrepreneurs, like I came from people who worked regular jobs and that was it. Like, I had no idea how to be an entrepreneur. Like, I've spent the last 10 years trying to learn how to be an entrepreneur so I could do the work that I came here to do. So there are all these shifts that have to happen. There's vision, there's discipline, there is looking at yourself and saying, how would I show up as this person? Oh my God, the first time that I was on camera doing a live stream like this, well, by the time you see it, it will be a recording, but a live stream, I'm like, I don't know how to do this. There was a platform called Periscope that was around 2015. I had never done any sort of live stream video in my life. I was terrified. So how do you do it? Well, you just, sometimes you just take a big deep breath and you just jump into that next big thing. And sometimes you fail. I failed a lot. And I love the acronym, if you haven't heard this, for FAIL, which is first attempt in learning. And when you go back and you look, fails are never fails. Fails are learning opportunities to where you have to fail usually a whole lot of times before you get it right. Now, the trick is, what are you failing at? Are you continuing to fail at things that don't serve you, things that aren't where you're going? Maybe they're who you've been. And maybe if you keep failing, it's letting you know it's time to shift. Now, sometimes failing, as an example, on my journey of being an entrepreneur, it was imperative that I failed, but I kept going because I knew this was my path. I knew this is what I was here to do. But there are other times in my life that I've failed and failed and failed and realized, oh, this learning opportunity is to let me know this is not my direction at all. So part of what unboxing your authentic self, which is what I talk a lot about, is knowing which one is your direction. Are you failing in something because it's really not the direction you're needing to go, although the failing is always, always a great learning experience? Or are you failing so that you keep getting better and better and better at the direction that you're destined to go, or that you're dreaming to go, or that you've been called to go on? Do you see what I mean? Like, there's a definite difference in that. And sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you have this knowing that you're here to do something different, that you're here to be someone different, but you have no idea where to begin. Sometimes that happens. And so the failing is to help you determine and sort of weed through the things that aren't a fit. I've been through a lot of education, a ton of education, and all of it's valuable. I don't see any of it as wasted. And yet, some of it really stuck with me. And some of it is just kind of nice to have. Some of it I really want to dive into with people. Others, yeah, I'd like to introduce them to it and then maybe introduce them to someone else that they could work with in that area. Do you know what I mean? You sometimes, before you can really get super clear on why you're here, what you're here to do, who you're here to be, is by doing and being some of those things that aren't really a fit, or they're a fit for a time. You know, there have been things I've done. As an example, I was a private investigator for a time. That was awesome. I loved my training. I loved the idea of it. Um, I liked the skills that I gained from it. I use those now, but it wasn't really what I was here to do, not in that way. So when I work with my clients and students, being a private investigator helps me sometimes helps me help them look for clues. But as a profession, it wasn't something I wanted to do. So everything that you can do, everything that you can learn is valuable. And you may find on this journey that over time, something that you thought was irrelevant to the journey actually comes in and plays a huge part, but you don't know it at the time because you haven't gotten to that part of your journey yet. So it's kind of like you do something and you go, okay, let me set that over here. Go do something else. Okay, I'll set that over here. And you may think it was a waste of time. And there may have been some skills that you learned from that that will come back to you later on in your journey. Or maybe you learned things about yourself in that. Or maybe you learned exactly what you do not want, which is super valuable. Sometimes before we can get to what we don't want or what we do want is by doing things we don't want, we know we don't want, or by getting to who we're here to be, we have to be some things that we don't want to be, which is valuable information. So, yeah, I'm interested to know, do you have these kinds of thoughts? Do you have this wondering of why you're here and how to do it different or how to do it better or how to step into mastery and get the hell out of all the pain and problems? Now, clearly, pain and problems don't stop. That's part of the human condition. It's part of the human experience. And the more you get into self-mastery, the more tools you have to get through those, and the quicker you can get to the other side. So that's what's on my mind. I'm working on something. I've mentioned this in a couple of videos. I'm working on something on the back end that I'm very excited about. And this is really going to be something where I can serve people who are in the process of figuring these things out. Or maybe you've already made these leaps and there's other levels that you're attempting to get to. So I'm super excited about what's to come. And I'd love to hear from you. Tell me what's going on with you. What does this stir up for you? What are you thinking? And are you ready to go bigger? Are you ready to grow into the next greatest version of who you are, even if you don't quite believe you can yet? So I am Tammy Coyne, your holistic alchemist, helping you change pain into possibilities and possibilities into purpose. Thank you so much for watching. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And I'll see you in the next video. See you later. Bye-bye.